Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Vote for Vermont, where our tagline is listening beyond the soundbites. Joining me in the studio today is Representative Mark Higley. Mark, how are you? Welcome.
Fine, thank you. Second time around.
Yes, exactly. We've done this before.
Yeah.
But things have changed a little. This year you're now on the House Ways and Means Committee.
Correct.
Mark and I served years ago, I think it was on government operations.
Yep.
And then just this year they moved Mark to Ways and Means. So I'm kind of interested. I know this sounds stupid, but I really don't know much about Ways and Means. I know most every bill goes there.
Right.
Or parts thereof. So you get to see what's happening. But maybe we could talk about the difference between Ways and Means and appropriations, because it seems to work in overlapping or something.
Right. Well, Ways and Means, I guess the simplest way to express it is anytime a bill has a new fee or tax in it, then we have to look at it. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what we used to, when Carolyn Brannigan was on that committee, she and I would fight all the time, because when you raise all of DMV's fees, I think that's a tax.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
You can call it a fee if you want, but bottom line, which they did last year or the year before,
They did that last
raised
year.
every one of them. That's a tax.
Yeah.
And you heard it here.
Yeah.
And then she and I, because she was on Ways and Means, we'd fight about it, but.
And DMV didn't even request it, so that's.
Oh, we just did it? We
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Because I think, listen, we're going to get off topic here. Ways and Means, when you ask for fees, it's supposed to cover the cost of your operation. But very rarely do they ask for that information. You should challenge them back. How do we know this money that you're asking is going to balance out the money that you spend? Do they ever ask for that? No. If you check, that's what they're supposed to do. But
Another issue is we're supposed to stay away from policy to most degree. And a lot of times we do delve into it, which we get called out, which we should.
Who calls you out, the speaker?
It's usually out of the committee chairs.
Oh, no kidding.
You know what I mean? I mean, if we have a bill, like I said, that has a fee or a tax or whatever, and we look at that part of it, sometimes don't we think this would be a little bit better?
Well,
all of a sudden it gets slipped in, and all of a sudden, a couple of days later, it's like,
maybe not. That's hard to do. I find that very difficult to keep my mouth shut, especially if you had the education bill in there. Oof, goodness. You'd find it hard. I know you. You'd find it a little hard.
And I think I was just talking earlier that, when I was on GovOps, that's a policy committee. But if a policy came through with a pretty heavy price tag that I didn't think was warranted, then I would vote against it because of that. And I do the same thing in Ways and Means. I don't just look at the financial end of it. I mean, I look at the policy end too and make some decisions.
You should. I mean, that's the deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get back to the show.
Okay.
Just went off a little bit here. Yeah. But could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. So I'm originally from the southern part of the state. Right after high school, I went into the U.S. Navy Seabees.
Oh,
and so that's construction outfits. And I was in a mobile construction battalion and went all over and went to Japan and Guam and Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. Big military base now. Got out of the service and started my own construction business. My dad was in construction. Served for a while on a select board. And then we moved to the northern part of the state, and I've since served 31 years as a lister in the town
bless
of
you.
Lowell.
We have trouble keeping listers in our town, or finding them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm again, have been a general contractor. I have a hobby farm, so I had draft horses. I don't have any more. They've all aged out, and I have beef animals and some chickens and, and it's just that's where I certainly enjoy more of my time is on the farm. But
do you have sheep?
Nope, just some
Oh,
beef
I know who.
animals.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Brad Furlan's he's got a lot of sheep, and he and his daughter take care of them.
I know Brad.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
He has the best picture. I'll send it to you. The sheep with a little snow putting their heads out of the barn door, and it could win awards, this picture. It's
Yeah.
just so cool. Sheep are really neat,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
except working on them and shaving them and whatever, shearing them. Yuck. So you've been in the legislature for how long?
Well, I just served my 17th year.
Bless you.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
for that.
So, yeah.
So you served 16 years on GovOps?
No, in between two, I served 2 years on ag and forestry, and then 2 years on energy and technology.
Ooh, I like GovOps.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Yeah, 'cause
I didn't request energy and technology,
Yeah.
and that was the biennium that we implemented the Global Warming Solutions Act.
Oh my word, put a gun to my head.
Yeah, so me and Representative Heidi Sherman,
Heidi, yes.
were the only no votes on that committee for numerous reasons.
Heidi knew her stuff though. She was good. I bet Stowe sort of misses having her. Do you know that they added Stowe to the district here in central Vermont in what would have been my district?
In the Senate district? you mean?
Yeah, they added Stowe. That's like a whole other country.
Oh.
You can't just cover that with everything else. I don't know how
I know.
the people who ran for Senate did it. That I don't understand that move. Because Stowe, on top of everything else you're dealing with?
And actually Stowe got broke up too.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, because there's a little piece of how did it work? I think there's a little piece of Morrisville now that's in with Stowe.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Well,
so.
I'm never running again if that's the case. That's ridiculous. So you also, on your free time, if you're still a member of the Vermont Beef Producers Association, is that something you still do?
That's kind of over the past few years has kind of fallen by the wayside.
oh.
There's not a lot going on with that.
Would think there would be, since we don't have many what do they call them when you bring your animals for slaughter?
Yeah,
And
slaughterhouses.
There's not many of them at all, and that was a big issue with
Yeah.
there for a while. And then you're the Vermont Farm Bureau.
Yep.
That's a good one. And the Vermont Sugar Makers Association. Good for you. And what else? You have a family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I actually adopted 2 sibling girls back in the day from the state, and then 2 sibling boys.
I didn't
And
know
so,
that.
Yeah. So now the girls are in their 40s and the boys are in their 30s.
Oh, Mark, that's fabulous. Good for you. How wonderful. Were they siblings? They were siblings.
Yeah,
That's great.
yep, the 2 sisters
It's very
and the 2
sad when you
brothers.
hear that they break kids up like that.
I know. Well,
That's good.
You
You
know,
have 'em.
maybe you don't know, but when you when you go to apply or go through the classes and all
Yeah.
that, they always ask you, would you be willing to take, somebody with a disability? Would you be
Right.
willing to take sibling group? Would you be, and you don't really know until they ask. you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing. I didn't know that about you, Representative. I'm more impressed than normal here. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit. You talked a little bit about Ways and Means, and it seems to be a little bit like appropriations and Ways and Means. So there are overlaps, or is it pretty clear cut what you do and what appropriations
Yeah,
does?
it's pretty clear cut.
Is it?
Yeah.
So you can tell what you're supposed to do with a bill and they do their thing?
Yeah, I mean, appropriations, looks at, where they're going to spend the money, and we look at where we're going to get the money.
Oh, that's a good way to explain it. Thank you. I'll have to remember that one. Because that's, I've only been to, well, when I was in motor vehicles, I went in front of Ways and Means a lot, but I never went in front of them with any of the other jobs I had, because most of those didn't have fees,
Yeah, right.
AKA taxes.
Well, OPR is a big one that comes before us.
Oh, yes.
Office of Professional Regulation.
That comes to Ways and Means
Yeah,
too?
all those fee
Did
increases.
we not hate it in
yeah.
GovOps?
I'm sorry?
We hated it in GovOps.
Oh, I know.
Just so you know, OPR is Office of Professional Regulation. They come out of the Secretary of State's office. And there are 1 million associations that are in this book, and you have to approve what they'll charge or how to license them and to approve them. And it's like, oh, the OPR bill again.
It's long, isn't it? Yeah.
Days and weeks of talking about OPR.
Yeah.
But you'd have to, so after it goes from GovOps, it goes over to Ways and
If
Means?
if there's a fee increase or whatever, sure.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I didn't, wow. So there's two committees that hate the OPR. I always feel sorry for the Secretary of State or whoever was in charge coming into the committee, and we were so excited. That's cool. So, and you were also, Mark, we've just spent almost a half hour talking about all those things you're involved in. You're LCAR, which I find fascinating. I like LCAR. I would have loved to have served on that. Tell them about LCAR.
Well, I didn't know anything about LCAR until I was asked to be on LCAR.
Oh, and then you foolishly said yes.
And I
should have
foolishly
checked it out.
said yes. So a lot of times when a bill gets passed, they rely on the agency to create rules.
Right.
And those rules are supposed to meet legislative intent if they came from the legislature.
Right.
And so that's what we do at LCAR, is once the agency brings forward a rule, we look at it and, you know, to determine whether or not it meets legislative intent. There may be other issues in there. There's really not a lot we can do. Yeah. We can't say, no, you can't pass them. I mean, we can object on certain cases or situations within the rule, but the agency could still promulgate the rule without our go-ahead. And
does that go through is it ICAR?
ICAR first.
That's the one in the state.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to show, so this right here is just one rule. This is on the Commercial Building Energy Standards. So this is what we get for a packet to look over.
Are you serious? And you have to...
Commercial Building Energy Standards. And so this packet has a little, thank goodness there's a few pages of summary, which help.
That's hysterical.
And then usually they include all the public testimony as well, or you know that come in as emails or letters. And then the yellow section is
I have never seen anything like that.
Isn't that something? I mean,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And you're expected to read that and to make a determination?
Well, yeah, and again, you know, it's like I said,
it's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
The summary helps a lot. The other thing that helps a lot is a lot of times when something is controversial like this, or the residential building energy standards, you'll have contractors or architects or whatever that will call you because they know that you're on LCAR, and they'll say, hey, there's a section in there that's really not workable.
Right.
You know, because they're the ones that are involved. They're the ones who went to the public hearings.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of controversy around, in particular, the residential building energy standards that changed. They're supposed to update them every 3 years. And there was a home builder. It was a commercial, you know, I won't give the name, but like a manufactured home builder who testified and said that the new residential building energy standards on an 1,800 square foot home would increase that cost that house about $30-some thousand.
Whoa.
So again,
that's helpful.
Yeah, it's concerning to me when I hear all this talk about affordable housing, right?
Yeah.
And then here we you know, and the residential one was almost as big, not quite, but almost. And it's like, well, wait a minute, let's think about this again. Is this really necessary at this point? And so actually, I put in, because I'm on LCAR and I was aware of all this, on the housing bill 2 years ago, I put in an amendment that said, let's hold off for 2 years on the residential building energy standards, right? Well, they said no. So, but believe it or not, through LCAR, what we asked the Department of Public Service to do is, because of the concerns by architects and contractors, can you postpone action until July of this past year? And they did.
Oh, good.
Because there was more information that needed to be delved into. But again, there's some severe changes in there for, you know, you have to have your electric box available for fully electrifying your home, you know. You have to have...
available to an inspector, you mean? Or
and LED lighting has to be within your house, and R values, insulation in the walls has to be so much. U values in your windows need to be so...
Good thing you've got your background in construction.
Yeah.
If I was on there, I'd be, what?
Anyway, so that's just one example, and there's, again, any of the rules that are drafted up come to us and we take a look at them. And for the most part, they get passed.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot, I know I've written rules when I've been in the agencies to go to LCAR, and I do, and everybody that works on them really works hard, because that's ridiculous, because it's like what was it, Nancy Pelosi said it's a 1,000-page bill, and she said, sign it, and then you can read it later.
Read it later. Yeah.
I'd do that with that. Here, just sign it.
The other thing LCAR can do, and we've done it before, is let's say we still see an issue, or some of us might see an issue, so we vote whether or not to send a letter to the Committee of Jurisdiction saying, hey, you need to take this up next year, next year, or whatever, and hopefully they will. I mean, it's
they should be interested in that, because that puts in, and people may not know this, but the minute you approve it and it passes, it has the full strength and force of law. It's just like you passed a bill. So there's a lot of power in LCAR.
There is, and the thing is about the rules, in my opinion, is, that's why we need to be really careful as to the laws that we pass, and also what we ask agencies to do. Because like you said, it is time consuming. It's also, generally there's always rules and regulations and mandates around it. So that means generally money for the, whomever.
Right.
So it's just, you really need to think long and hard and understand, and we've tried to express that to some of the committee chairs, being on LCAR, that you need to understand what that process looks like. And the public hearing piece of it is critical, but tell me how many people really understand, where do they get the information that there's a public hearing on residential building energy standards?
They put them in stupid places where you never see it.
A little box in the bottom of a paper somewhere, right?
Yeah, they've always tried to figure out how best to do that. Although I'll tell you, we were just talking about wake boats before. They had public hearings. There were 300 people on Zoom, and the room itself was filled to the brim. So somehow those words got out. But if it's like like that, I doubt people would even know. And then of course, they didn't have any public hearings, and you find out they did.
Well, and that one didn't come through the legislature either. That came through the Lakes Association. Request the agency to promulgate rules. So
who started the? You're talking wake boats?
Lakes and Ponds Association.
They started this? We'll have to chat with them. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
but
no, it wasn't legislation through the legislature.
It was hundreds of people. I didn't even know Zoom could handle that many people.
So that's probably why there was more people than there generally is.
Yeah,
because there was groups out there that initiated it, got it pushed through, an organization, and said, because you can request, the agencies don't have to, but you can request a rule change or rule modifications as an individual in groups.
Right. Wow, you've got a busy schedule there. Yeah. And I noticed when I was doing my research that legislators, when there's a bill that I would want passed, they give you a form, and you go and get people to sign on and to support a bill, and it always, to other legislators, they got 40 people to sign on, it must be a good bill, right? That's supposed to be the intent. But you signed on to quite a few bills, and I was very impressed by the ones that you were trying to reverse some things, like the Affordable Heat Act, and I don't know where, the overdose prevention centers, that was something you weren't.
Right, that was $1 million for one in the state.
Are you serious?
Yeah, just one, and it ended up in Burlington, of course.
Yeah.
And it's really unrealistic in the sense that, the other ones that they looked at, one was in New York City. Well, think of how many, million people are within a square mile down in New York City. So if you've got my constituency up in Newport who'd like to access, the safe injection site in Burlington, it's pretty unrealistic.
Right.
So it's just.
Yeah, I would have been a no.
Yeah.
But you did do a lot for military people.
Absolutely.
For their retirement and survivor benefit incomes. And, I mean, I think that's great. And you did it for law enforcement officers. I don't know, is there one that you...
That one didn't
was
make it
a-
all the way through again this year. This is the second year that it hasn't gone all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, and that's the law enforcement survivors benefit.
Yeah, what's their problem with that?
I don't really know. I know there was a political issue last year in regards to the Senate wanted to include all public works employees under it. And we had no indication as to how many that would be.
Right.
What's the situation under that they're gonna be able to.
They just added it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And so in GovOps, when I was on GovOps, we removed it.
Ah,
So the law enforcement survivors benefit was over in the Senate, and they just chose to never take it up. So I think that was, a political.
yeah, I hope it does come back,
Move
because
on their part.
that's a good
It was
bill.
2 years, yeah. It's there's so many other states that have it. It is out there for firefighters
Mm-hmm.
and EMS, and we just don't have it in Vermont for law enforcement.
Well,
There is
that doesn't make sense at all.
I know there is a federal benefit for all those folks, but it's pretty interesting. Like in Maine, they have a 100,000 adjusted annual income by a COLA. Massachusetts has a 300,000 non-taxable amount. New Hampshire has 100,000. Rhode Island has 40% of the federal death benefit. Connecticut has 100,000, and Vermont has none. So that's kind of a
Wow.
comparison to, some of the
But
other
I'm sure you
states.
testified with those numbers, and that doesn't seem to
Right.
hit home.
I don't
That's
know what
sad.
these.
And you also, the global warming, and we haven't covered this on this show, I've had Matt, where did I
Byron?
do that?
No.
Who's- Matt, he does, Matt Coda.
Oh, Matt Coda.
He's been on the show, I don't know how many times, because every time I leave the show, I forget. It's so complicated, so I come back, and as he's talking, I remember this all. But that just sort of died, was just delayed.
I've had it,
Again.
you mean the clean heat standard?
Yeah, the clean heat
Yeah,
standard, that's
yeah.
sort of, it's gonna come back, but,
Yeah, I don't know, they're looking at a, what's it called now? It's similar to what they initially tried to do with other states and have just a tax on these fuels, cap and trade.
oh, yes, cap and trade, right, yep.
That's what,
yep.
and now they're looking at that again. That's the next thing
Gotta do
that the
something, right?
Climate Council is considering is a cap and trade proposal.
Very nice.
So,
So, and what did the bodily autonomy and healthcare decision-making bill, what
well,
was that?
there was a few of those that I actually took over from, you remember Vicki Strong
Oh,
and
for
some
sure,
others.
for sure.
And when she no longer didn't come back, I took on some of these, and again, it's surrounding in particular vaccinations. Another bill was to allow the CDC's adverse reactions report to come back to the committees in the House, and I don't know why, but they didn't take that one up. Another one was, you may remember during the pandemic, there was a lot of people that were let go and fired for not having vaccinations. So again, there was another bill to not discriminate against an individual that wasn't vaccinated. And then this one was more of a, you can't make somebody have whether it's a vaccination or procedural operation without their say-so.
I like that one.
Yeah, pretty
We
simple.
are in charge. It's
Should
our
be.
body, it's our body, yeah.
Right, should be.
That's,
Yeah.
I don't understand some of these bills, that you listen, I'm always on Zoom, listening to committees. Good thing they can't hear me.
Yeah.
Because I yell a little bit at them. But you have I found in Digger, there were about 3 or 4 you were writing away.
I try to
good for
present the
you.
other side.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because I think that's what's lacking a lot of times in some of these publications.
yeah, they don't know the other side.
Yeah, I mean, even, whether it's Digger or 7 Days or whatever, a lot of times I have conversations with the reporters and even Channel 3 News, and I'll say, geez, I read your report, and, it was all taken from the side of the majority, And at the end, you might have had one line almost that said, "Oh, and the Republicans voted no."
But why?
Well, why?
Yeah, right.
You know, give it a little bit of explanation of why the reasoning was that we voted no or whatever.
Good idea.
You know, it was, you know, there was like when Senator Starr was retiring, right?
Yeah.
Big news came out. Oh, and I won't mention names again, but oh, so and so's running, you know, up in the Northeast Kingdom, blah blah. And it's like, there's another individual running too. You know,
right.
So
A Republican.
I told Channel 3 News, and they did next few days come out with an addition to who else was running. But it's
good.
like,
You gotta call them.
yeah,
Call them on it.
yeah. So anyway,
All right, that's cool. So anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about the bills that I saw that I was listening to, and just so you know, you can go on the legislative website and zoom into most any committee, and it's a hoot because you're there listening and you can say what you want and they won't hear you. But I don't think they have a thing that you have to call the secretary of the administrative person if you wanted to speak through Zoom. They have a special thing they can do. That
right.
You
I
can
mean,
talk.
you have to have a reason to speak.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you have to be.
But I find it so cool because in the committee room, what do you get? Maybe 10 people could fit in there, 10 citizens.
Yeah.
On Zoom, I've seen up to 40, 45 people listening in, and I think that is so cool.
Yeah.
That they have an opportunity to hear
Yeah.
what's happening. It's good. So this is my little list: housing, flooding, the flood, education. That's the big
That's the big
H454.
one.
Appropriations, you get the big bill, and foundation formula, which is another whole thing with education. And
Yeah.
you've got all the biggies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, the
it's hard-
foundation formula, the whole education reform was the biggest one this year, of course.
Right.
And I think it's critical. I know as a lister, Lowell just went through a reappraisal. And so we come out with all our new figures. And when your assessments go up 80%, 100%, you know, and
It hurts.
based on fair market value, I mean, rightly so, they have to, but, you know, a lot, that's all tied to a tax rate. And fortunately, of course, the tax rate comes down, but generally not as much as it might if you know, have a
Right.
100% increase in your assessment.
How often do you do your?
We've been doing them about every 10 years. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we in Berlin, there were a few of us who got nailed to the wall because they hadn't done it
For a long time.
for a long time. And when I thought my husband was straight up through the roof, it was huge.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they tell you, yes, but you got away with spending the money over the last 10, 15 years. But it was a shocker.
Well, and the education bill is, I mean, something needs to change.
Yes,
And
agreed.
Vermont, of course, has a unique way of funding their education and putting in their budgets and paying for it.
Yep.
You know, and it's every school district in the state puts together their budgets, sends it to the state, and all the grand lists put together pay for it.
Right.
As well as some of the other, you know, the lottery
Yeah,
and
right,
part of
right,
the
right.
you know, rooms and meals tax,
Yeah.
and they actually added on a couple of taxes last year, if you remember right. There was a short-term rental tax
Oh,
and a cloud tax. So a cloud
tax?
So anything that you download
Yep.
from the
Oh.
cloud, like your software to do your taxes, TurboTax and all
Yeah,
that,
you pay a
you
tax?
pay a tax now. So, and that's
Who
the,
collects that tax? Is somebody in charge of the cloud? 'Cause
well,
who's
I'm
on
sure it's
other
the
side?
tax department.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, but, so there's an example of what Ways and Means did last year.
yeah.
Is not only did they set the tax rate for education, but they also, to bring in a little bit more money, had 2 more taxes.
What did you guys, this flood thing is driving me crazy. What did you guys do this year for the flood? Did anything come to your committee about helping people, like pay their way out of giving them money to help them, or making sure that municipalities have the right right, oh, great, what is it, culverts, that's what I was.
Oh,
this,
yeah, bigger
this is a
culverts and
culvert, you know, getting the right size in and,
I just know that there was an opportunity, you know, how if somebody's house gets destroyed, the
Right.
tax money's gone.
right,
So there was an opportunity and some money to help towns out that lost some of that tax revenue.
oh,
To kind of
yes, of course,
soften it
Right.
for I think it was 5 years or so.
oh, interesting,
So that was part of it.
that's a good thing,
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of that was in GovOps as well.
oh, really, yeah, sure,
So,
that's great, huh, because I was thinking there should have been, I was thinking, there's one bill that came out about the flood and emergency management. I was just assuming there'd be a whole lot more, because we really needed to assess what we did in response to all the flooding. I mean, that was just, it was just
and
staggering.
yet again, we had more, huh?
Yes, exactly. And are we ready? Probably not. You know what killed me? I have to take 2 seconds. When we had the big flood in 91,
Irene, that one?
yeah, and I think, yeah, 1991, they moved all of these Jersey barriers over to the Department of Labor and put them in the backyard. Well, there's a bazillion of them. And then I became commissioner of the Department of Labor, you know, merged the two departments, employment and training and labor. And I was watching the Jersey barriers get removed. So when we had this flood, no Jersey barriers.
Wow.
I thought, come on, people. You really do, even if you don't have them once every year, you needed them and they weren't there. They took
Where did
them
they
away.
go?
Well, they needed one for this, so they came and took it. Needed one. And I was laughing out the window. There goes another one, and sure enough, after a while, they were all gone. I thought, well, let's hope they don't need them. Are you getting involved with the reconstruction in the State House?
I'm not.
Oh, that didn't go to Ways and Means?
No, not that I'm,
Because there's a big effort to expand the State House
Right.
out where room 10 is and to redo that entryway. And it's supposed to be pretty big construction.
right, I haven't,
I wonder where
Been
that went
involved
off
too
to,
much.
maybe approps, because it's a few bucks
yeah,
to do that.
and probably GovOps too.
Huh?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's, that whole section down there now they're using more rooms. They're using the rooms that used to be for people.
For ledge
They're
count.
using them for committee rooms.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what was your, I'm looking at all these bills that you guys passed out. What was besides education, what was the big ones this year that kept you busy?
Well, we implemented a new, it's similar to a TIF district.
Oh,
Tax-
yes.
Tax Income Finance
Yep.
District. It's called CHIPS,
Oh, I've heard of that, yes. What is that?
Community Housing Infrastructure Program. So it's similar to a TIF district. The money comes from the same area, hopefully to help, not just big cities, but even rural areas, up front with some money for infrastructure. So because, if you get some infrastructure in there, whether it's water and sewer, roads,
Right.
electricity and all that, then the developers are gonna, come in a little bit sooner, and hopefully build some housing.
So
And-
it's for like a housing development?
Yep.
The CHIPS?
Yep.
And
And-
then the money, you don't pay for a while because the money gets put back in?
Right, and then once you, the whole process is to build up your grand list.
Yes.
So once those houses start coming in and you assess those, you're gonna bring in more money, and more money, and it gets paid back.
Yeah, I love TIFs and CHIPS sound like I would love it too. It's a very good idea. And people say, well, you're taking money that should go to the town, but it's really, it's an investment.
Yeah,
Because you're allowing them time to get established and bring money in.
it is controversial.
Oh, yeah, people really don't like it, some people.
Comes from the ed fund.
Yeah. Well,
But again, and it's shown over time, is these towns, whether it's St. Albans or other towns that have really good projects, and that money starts flowing in again because you have businesses and homes and stuff that are paying taxes on it now.
Did you ever look at, on the ed fund, what's really in there? Because I think there's a lot of human services expenditures in the taxes that we pay for school. And to me, it should be reading, writing, and arithmetic, and not the HR, not the human services stuff that gets assigned to the schools. I think
that was talked about a lot.
Was it good?
Yeah.
But nothing happened?
Yeah, I don't know, and again, that's kind of outside, the Ways and Means purview, but, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of talk was about that should be removed and put into the, the Agency of Human Services
Right.
or whatever, right?
Right.
DCF.
Because I think the public should know how much we're really spending on human services versus teaching. But they keep sliding over stuff and asking the schools to pay for it, which brings up our taxes, and it's not all for teaching.
Yeah.
It's for taking care, and the kids need the services, so I'm not arguing the money shouldn't be spent, but it should be accounted for where it belongs in human services.
Well, it's just like the, I don't want to call it free because nothing's free, but the school lunch program.
Oh,
That during the pandemic, the federal government kicked in the money for it.
right, not now,
And not now. Now it's in our education fund.
right.
We're paying for it. So,
And we're paying for everybody,
and
whether
we're
they
paying
can
for
afford
everybody.
it or not.
Whether you make $1 million or,
I have a problem with that
Yeah.
one too. But good thing I'm not there anymore. I'd lose my voice. That's ridiculous,
I don't know. But again, the argument is, kids with full bellies learn better, and it's like, okay, well, what does that have to do with, parents that can afford to pay the
Right.
kids? I would think that'd be one of the first things that a parent would be happy to pay for is
Right.
their son or daughter's lunch or breakfast
For
or
sure,
whatever.
because
right?
you won't have to make it. They make it for you. I like that. I would have paid.
Anyway.
make the lunch, I
But it
pay.
is, it's one more mandate that,
Yeah, right. And it is a lot of money,
yeah.
just more money.
I don't know where it happened, but it started out to be something like 29 million. Now it's down in the budget to 17 million.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonder,
Well,
that's a lot of difference. What are they feeding these kids? All right, moving on. And you have, who is the chair of your committee?
Emily
Oh,
Kornhauser.
Corna, oh, she's good. I've always liked her. She's good.
We have an understanding.
Well, she has her way of looking at things, but she looks like she's a good chair. Not necessarily policy, we may have differences, but because I listen to you guys every once in a while.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people that perhaps shouldn't be in the chair seat, but
Yeah, I just think, and being in the minority still,
Yeah.
even though we picked up a number of seats and we have, veto proof
Yes,
in
that's
the
a good
House and
thing.
Senate, which is huge.
yeah,
It's still a challenge to make sure that groups or individuals that you want to have testify.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, you got to really push and say,
Oh, I didn't
know.
realize that was a problem. That's not good.
because
Speaking
generally,
of the other side of-
it's the majority, picks
Yeah.
and chooses. Oh, we're going to have, Public Access Institute in to speak, and we're going to have, VPIRG in to speak, and we're going to have, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, how about?
You know what threw us this year, Campaign for Vermont? We fought for years to get, oh, great, what is the civil, I'm speaking of blank, when you have a conflict of interest. And we had the law all set that how to, when you step down if you have a conflict of interest, and they reversed it this year. They decided that they wanted the legislature and the judiciary to be free of worrying about conflict of interest, and that the administration could do that. But
Oh, wow, oh.
yeah, they took themselves out of the legislation.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I thought that was, how do you justify the legislature not wanting to be involved with conflict of interest or?
I know, it's tough in a small state and and part-time legislatures.
Well, for sure.
You know.
You know, and in every town, there's 10 people that do everything.
Well, right.
You know, it's the same.
And
Look at your resume, for heaven's sake, you know?
And that's, you know, I was on GovOps when we went through a lot of that as far as for towns, you know,
Yep.
with all this new
Oh, yeah, the
recording requirements and
Yep.
all that. And, you know, I, to be honest with you, and I said this at a few meetings, that I think it does just the opposite. I mean, they talk about how it's, you know, a good way to involve more of the community, but I found that the community doesn't want to be involved, because I've been at meetings where, you know, the town clerk may say, okay, this meeting needs to be recorded now. Here's the recorder. You would need to raise your hand and speak, and then we'll hand you the recorder, and you need to tell us your name. And
They don't
you know,
want
in my
to.
neck of the woods, yeah, a lot of times it's like, you ain't telling me what I can do.
Oh.
And, you know, and then people talk over each other, which is
Right.
normal at a
Right,
meeting, right?
right.
Usually there's some tension. So a lot of people, a lot of times, just say,
Wow.
I'm not going down if I have to, you know, be recorded and blah, blah, blah.
It's
So,
the same, back to the same 10 people.
yeah, and like you
Just
said,
the same.
on the other end of things, you know, there's all the requirements now where if you feel you have a conflict of interest,
Right.
you need to recuse yourself. If you don't feel that you have a conflict of interest, you have to say why you don't have a conflict of interest.
Right.
And it's like you said, in small towns,
Yeah.
you only have a few people that.
Right.
And I mean, I you know, I didn't mention town name, but I mean, the select board chair is also the road commissioner. The select board chair's wife is the town clerk. You know, I mean.
Yeah,
it's-
but otherwise it doesn't get done. That's
Right.
what's
Right.
so sad about it. Yeah, it was the ethics, and they've got the ethics commissioner, and they've got the board all set, and then they recuse themselves from ethics. I love it.
Yeah.
But only in Vermont do we take out the judiciary and the legislature from the ethics legislation, but I think we're going back next year.
Yeah,
Keep the fight going,
It'll
you know.
probably end up with something. But.
Yeah, right. They have to. They look stupid. Anyway, let's see. I'm just trying to think of. You didn't do anything on flooding, because I already asked you that, but it blows my mind that we haven't done other than money. But something's got to happen. We've got to fix something, build something. It's not the money.
I mean, there are all, and they have been in place for a while. I know that, you know, if and when a town replaces its culverts, it's got to be oversized culverts now,
Right.
and
Good.
things like that. You
But
know,
they should get started on that.
Stone line ditches to help, you know, stop the runoff. And,
Oh, good.
But you know, there's other things too. I think sometimes they go overboard. There was a bill that came through our committee, and again, it was just for the money end of things, but it was a salt bill. Did you hear about that at all?
No, salt.
Yeah,
SALT,
salt.
yeah.
Salt, chloride, salt,
Yeah, right,
whatever.
right.
Is if you apply salt, so whether you're a town employee or
Right.
a private individual that salts and sands driveways and plows them, you need to get certified in salt application.
Sorry, didn't mean to yell so loud.
So,
Because what'll happen?
well, because if you put
much?
too much salt down, salt is a, you know, environmentally unfriendly thing that'll go into the banks and into
Yeah,
the
right.
brooks and into the lakes and,
Oh,
into,
right.
you know, and, but the one thing that really got me in looking at that bill was there was also going to be a statewide study on towns' sand piles and whether or not they needed to be covered. I mean, and it's, you know,
Because
and
if it rains, it'll run right off, right?
yeah, well, I basically said, hey, this sounds like the PCB testing bill where, you know, we put a few million into it for
Right.
testing and mitigation, and it got eaten up by Burlington, you know?
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? And, you know, I was told, well, it's just a study. And it's like, well, what if they come back and they say, ooh, there's some towns out there that, you know, their sand piles are really close to, you know, a swale and the
Yeah.
water, and they should be covered. And it's like, how much is a, you know, I mean, Lowell's sand pile is probably, you'd need a building 150
Yeah,
by.
right. Little extra expense for the town.
So
That's
anyway,
right.
I mean, good intentions, I know, but my goodness, where's the money coming from? It's
Yeah,
just,
well, I don't understand. We don't have it. Could
Right.
you tell them that?
Yeah.
Especially those of us who are retired. I honestly thought I was in good shape. till you actually live as a retiree, you find that, no, you're not in good shape. So
Yeah.
it's really sad. What do you hope, you're going to go back probably on Ways and Means, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Yep. At least for a couple of years. What do you hope to have happen next year? Excuse me.
Well, again, I don't know as though there's much in Ways and Means. I mean, there's a lot of things that haven't been decided in the education bill.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff has to come back.
No, they have a special committee this summer.
Yeah, there's a
still
task
working.
force now to look at creating these new districts.
Is that their charge?
That's their charge. They can come up with no more than 3. And then they're gonna, that first thing we're gonna do when we get back is look at whatever they come up with and vote on a new district. Because, right now, what is there, 119?
Yeah, but to go to 3 is dramatic.
Well, what's that?
If they go to 3 districts?
Well, the governor initially wanted 5.
Yeah, I thought he was wrong.
Right, and now I think it's gonna be more like 12, because, when you get up into our neck of the woods, the Northeast Kingdom, Essex and Orleans, even though it's such a huge area, needs to be combined to get the numbers. And then Grand Isle and, somewhere over there need to be brought in. So that does in your 14 counties, right? You can't really have 14 county districts, so. But I've heard that it's maybe gonna end up between 12 and 15.
Yeah, see, that's what we were proposing, that's a good number, because 5 makes them way too big.
Yeah.
I mean, the superintendent, and I also been wishing some bill would put in the language that says that everything that the superintendent will now do and combine has to be looked at and decide which things really do need to be done and which things don't, because a superintendent is going to take on boku. I mean, the man or woman's going to be swamped.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to go in and streamline the reports and what the duties are and decide specifically what that superintendent should do, because they're going to be swamped.
Well, I know up my way, I believe that, a lot of my constituency homeschools.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, and so they were looking, there's a bill out there now that I signed on to allow a $1,000 tax credit for families that homeschool, just something to
nice.
help them
Yeah,
out, There was another one also to allow homeschool kids to have driver's ed. But that's another thing that hasn't really been worked out in this, and that's school choice of some form.
Yeah, my take is they want it gone.
I know. Well,
And I think that's a big mistake.
Yeah.
When you look at what they've produced and what their kids produce and where they go after the independent schools, they really work. Mm-hmm. And the kids, if they're in the right environment, they've blossomed.
Awesome.
It's great. I had a school right opposite on the road that I lived in. And I used to go over there because I was very involved in that. And it was fabulous. The teacher would blow a whistle and everybody'd sit. And I'm like, what?
What was that?
What is this? It was incredible. I mean, they learned to be disciplined and manners and polite. And I'm like, what the heck?
Well, even now, I mean, I've had people, let's say from Eden, which is my Lamoille County town, say, geez, Mark, I'd like my son or daughter to go to North Country because they have a good hockey program, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, why, if there's the availability, why can't that happen?
Right.
And I know, even my wife and I took advantage, our girls in the Lowell school, every other year, they were in the same class because they were just a year apart.
Yeah.
And they did not get
They didn't.
And so for 2 years, we decided to send our daughter to St. Paul's School.
Oh,
it's over in Barton. It's a ways, but there was another family in town. We commuted and all that. But I think parents have the best understanding of what's best for their kids for the most part, and to lock them into, no, you have to stay in this school and, sorry, but.
No. Yeah, I hope that they never do. They should support them
Right.
and fix their public schools, and they can compete.
Yep.
Learn something from the independent schools.
Yeah.
It's great. But when I actually taught a year of civics in the Websterville Baptist Community School, and it was such a joy teaching these kids. They were excited, enthusiastic, and I don't think it'd be the same in some of the classrooms I've seen in the
No,
public
civics is
schools.
huge.
Yeah. Well, why they don't teach it. Do you know, I would have sometimes more parents than the kids. The parents would come to listen because they have no idea. It was really cool. It was fun.
I know it's one of the things you talked about, and one of the questions was, how do you communicate with your constituency,
Right.
And it's, of course, I try to make, I now have 8 towns because Representative Marcotte and I have a 2-seat district now.
Oh,
So I picked up a bunch more towns. I used to have 5, now there's 3 more. And I made it to 6 town meetings on town meeting
ooh,
day.
there's a little hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I just try to hit the highlights but make sure people know how to get in touch with me.
Yeah.
And it's important to, write back if they do get in touch with me.
Yeah.
A lot of people outside of my district, it all depends on what it is or how they ask the question, but a lot of times I don't have the time or the energy to respond to them because I know they might have an agenda,
Oh, right. Trying to
but
sway
your
it.
constituency, you really
Because
have to.
you've got a big area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do they include you in on meetings and stuff and hope that?
Oh yeah, but that's the thing with me still working. It's hard for me to get away. I'm not available at noon on Tuesday, which is generally a time that's convenient for whomever.
Yeah, right.
So.
Right. But I think it's important that they know that if something comes up, you'll be there.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure after all these years, they know you for sure. That's great. It's good for you. That's the part I liked, meeting my constituents and knocking on some doors.
Yeah. So.
Some doors maybe not, but some doors it's really fun to talk and learn what they want. And I'm sure there's nothing unusual. They want affordability and
Affordability is huge.
healthcare and education and housing. It's the same thing, which surprised me. I know the housing bill had a lot of traction this year. I had on the show the head of the Real Estate Association.
Oh.
And he would come on my show and...
Was that Pete?
Yeah, and every time he'd put the TV on, the Zoom, there he'd be. He was living there.
He was in our committee a lot.
Yeah. Well, but it's a big issue,
Yeah.
So, did you have some things that really kind of fighting with amongst the committee, or most of it's you guys get along?
Well, one of the issues that I had right off was, and you may remember that for years now we've tried to exempt military pensions and survivors' benefits.
Right.
And there was a separate bill. So there was a tax credit bill, which included, a bunch of things, some child tax credit increases and an increase to the amount of money that you can earn under Social Security and not be taxed on, So there was 3 different items there. And then there was the military pensions and survivors benefit exemption, which most other states have. And it didn't get included, and so I voted against the whole tax credit bill, even though the rest of it was good.
Yeah.
But in the end, we got it passed. Not 100% of the military pensions exemption, but up to $125,000 of the adjusted gross income, and then a phase down, so that's 100% not taxed.
Good
then
for
a
you.
phase down up to 175,000.
Excellent.
And then there was also an addition to it that was never really discussed, and that's I think it was $250, $250 refundable tax credit for anybody that was a veteran making under $25,000.
Excellent.
So
Those are good
it was a
bills.
plus. That was a plus. And then we also, another plus, last year it passed the House, didn't make it out of the Senate. Something as simple as declaring November Vermont Month of the Veteran.
Yep,
And that got passed this year.
that's great. I read about that recently, and I thought, oh, that's so cool.
I mean, it's something simple, but, you know, it's
Well, they
recognition.
deserve it,
Yeah,
you know?
So,
If we don't, I have, because of the education of thanking people, I've been doing that, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And of course, the person you're thanking feels good too, but it's something, it's no big deal. I mean, to say thank you, how hard is that?
I know.
And it makes everybody's day.
Yeah.
You know what, I have a few minutes left. Ann Donahue, she actually reads every bill, we know that.
yeah,
I don't know how she does it, but she stood up on the floor and asked, you've got the budget, and then you've got all these bills that cost money too, but you never see the budget and all of these bills added together so that you actually know the real cost. And it didn't get, she wanted to put an amendment on, and of course it didn't go anywhere, because we didn't really want to do that. That we just wanted people to focus on the budget and forget all these little $2-3 million things we've got dealing over there. But that makes a lot of sense to
Yeah.
me, because then you've got the budget adjustment, which increases the dollar amount more.
yeah,
And nobody really focuses on the actual true dollar amount.
yeah.
And
Well, the budget this year went up to 9.1 billion, right?
great.
So that's 380 million more than last year. So, you know, I mean, that's a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot there.
And then all this extra stuff that doesn't, I don't know where it gets included. It must catch up somewhere in the
Yeah.
maybe the following year. It must, but it was a funny discussion on the floor to listen to them trying to get out of that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of bobbing and weaving.
Yeah.
So we have just a minute or so left. You want to end up with a vote for me, huh?
Well, no.
No, you're going to keep
not-
doing this, I hope. You're not.
Not at all. No, I think I always like to end things with a few positive things, and
Good.
both those veterans bills,
Yep.
I think were huge. There's another bill that I've got out there that actually I got the Farm Bureau on board, I got the Forest Products Association on board, I got the Loggers Association on board, I got the Rural Caucus on board, and it never went anywhere. But you may remember that a few years ago we passed the 30 by 30 and 50 by 50 preservation of Vermont's forest land.
Right, exactly.
And that was generally initially a Biden executive order. It's following UN guidelines. Real concern for all these groups that I just mentioned as far as keeping the, forest products industry alive and well.
Right.
Are we going to tie up? So what the bill did was include for preserved land already, land that is in current use.
Ah,
And they don't like it. They say it's not conserved enough. It's not in perpetuity forever. It's not, and it's like, that sort of stuff scares me,
yeah, right.
And so we still have another year, it was the beginning of the biennium and we're gonna fight again. But I got 10 minutes before the committee of jurisdiction and the chair wasn't even there.
Oh,
So.
There you go.
But again, there's an example of, having not just myself,
Right.
but these different groups out there in Vermont.
citizens.
Right, well, right, and it didn't really go anywhere.
Well, I thank you very much for coming on. That hour went fast.
It
You
did,
are
didn't it,
a
already?
font of knowledge, Representative. Thank you for tuning in. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Vote for Vermont, where our tagline is listening beyond the soundbites.